This is your last chance to lock up a new .com for only 99 cents with the GoDaddy coupon code CJCSIG99C. That offer is good only until December 31st, 2019, and then the discounted price rockets back up to $4.99. Why not save those 4 books, ma'am and or sir? Grab your dream.com for just 99 cents with a GoDaddy coupon code CJCSIG99C. And now on with our story. Welcome to Fire is Orange, a short story compilation by #1 New York Times bestselling author Scott Segler. 10 titillating tales to tantalize your thoughts. Hello, junkies. Welcome to Fire is Orange, episode number 7. A real treat for you this week. The story is read by none other than Ray Porter. Ray Porter, of course, is the narrator of my novel Earthcore. He is a total auditory badass. We love his work. This story is called Reunion. This is a military sci-fi piece that looks at the concept of cloned soldiers. This ain't your daddy's Clone Wars, junkies. Ray will read you the story, then I will read you the author's notes about that story. Here we go with Reunion.
Reunion. The last time I saw Sam, the top of his head had been blown off. His brains were just gone. Like someone had opened him up, scooped him out a hole, then run off into the woods. I wouldn't have even recognized the corpse were it not for that scraggly blonde soul patch on his chin. "Hey, Marky," Sam says. "Good to see you." He reaches out, hugs me. I hug him back. "Good to see you too, man." It is. Really good. He grabs my shoulders, holds me at arm's length. He has that look, like he's seeing a ghost. I know I have the same look. "Fuck," he says. Fuck. Welcome back. He doesn't ask if I want help with my bag. He just takes it off my shoulder. He doesn't offer to carry my carbine, though. We always carry our own. Keep it on us at all times, even in the shower. When there are showers, of course, which isn't often. "Come on," Sam says. "The boys are waiting." He smiles, blinks away a tear. Sam is never reserved about his emotions. He loves the guys on the team. He tells us that before every mission. He told me that before the last one, where I saw a high-caliber round take the top of his head clean off. He told me that a year ago, before I saw a huge splinter of wood blasted free from a mortar round punch through his armor, into his guts, and half out his back. He told me that 18 months ago when I saw him burned alive by a white phosphorus grenade. Every night, I still hear that Sam screaming. Every day, the scar tissue on my right arm inches. I got that wound trying and failing to put out the fire that killed him. 3 times I've seen Sam Wooch die. Twice more, he's just gone MIA. It's war. Those 2 Sams were never found. To me, this is Sam number 6. He adjusts the bag strap. It has all my stuff, including my full armor and kit. Bag's not as heavy as it could be, though, because I'm wearing some of that armor. I travel wearing half plate. Chest, shoulders, midriff, groin, even well behind our own lines, I never take the stuff off. Well, not never. Sometimes you get to bathe, but I only do that when Sam and Kamala and Big Daddy Shez are around. No matter where I am, I don't feel comfortable being out of plate without those guys nearby. Shez. I can't wait to see Shez. Kamala? That's a different story. Sam leads me through the fire base. It looks the same as all the others I've served at. Static Crete buildings and a few tents, all active-skinned in the local colors and surface temps to make it blend in perfectly with the surrounding forest. We're obviously a ways back from detection range, though, because the engineers hadn't set up hamster tunnels. Without the ECW screens and the tunnel mesh, any enemy intel bugs could spot my body heat from 100 meters away. Not to mention, of course, that the duster just dropped me off not 50 yards from here. Obviously, we have air superiority and a solid net of bug zappers a long ways out. This place is safe. Which means we won't be here long. Recon Fire Team Donald 15 wasn't made to operate in safe areas. We walk. I recognize a lot of the faces. That's normal. What is weird is that I don't recognize even more. The war has hit this company hard. Sam shakes his head. Fuck, he says, glances at me. Just fuck. He's Sam number 6 to me. I wonder how many times he's seen me die. You look good, Marky, Sam says. Kind of weird to see you looking at me with 2 real eyes. I lost an eye? Sam nods. Yeah, left one. Just a tiny bit of shrapnel, but gummed up the works enough you had it taken out, replaced with a gray ball. He laughs. You could have gone for a full prosthetic, looked mostly normal, but not you, you asshole. Always have to go for the creepy. I nod. Yeah, that sounds like me. We stop as a grav sled slides past. I don't know the driver, but I recognize the passenger. Major McMurtry. I nod toward the grav sled. McMurtry still an asshole? Sam's going to say, do I still like fucking whores? Do I still like fucking whores? Sam says. That you do, I say. That you do. This McMurtry is a dick, yeah. The last one wasn't so bad, but some enemy worms sapped our ground screen, came right for the command tent. That McMurtry died. Ugly. So now we got this one. My 3rd McMurtry. He looks at me. How many for you? I shrug. Only my 2nd. My last post didn't have a McMurtry. Sam lets out a short huff of a laugh. Lucky you. He stops at a static Crete hut. Home sweet home, he says. He doesn't need to tell me. I recognize the wolf banner. It's our symbol. A snarling wolf missing the front left incisor, red eyes brimming with flame. A chain collar so tight the stylized fur bulges over the top. On the front of that collar, our name, Donald 15. When we're in the shit, Shez carries the banner under his backplate. This banner has only 1 hole in it, which is so weird to look at. The last one I saw had 3, all stained with the blood from Shez 2 before Shez 3 came to replace him. Sam starts into the hut, then stops, looks back at me. I realize I stopped walking, didn't follow him in. Marky, you okay? I nod. I sure as fuck am not okay. I'm about to see my comrades, guys I've known for 6 years. Guys who have been my whole life for those 6 years. The last time I saw them, they'd been mangled, shredded, torn apart by a crawler overrunning our position. Sam with the top of his head blown off. Shez crying for his mother, trying to wipe forest dirt and leaves off the intestines that spilled from his shredded stomach. And Sergeant Kamala, that glassy look in his eyes as his hands pressed against his neck, trying to stem the blood that gushed like mad from a sliced throat. Sliced by me. The brass tapped us 4 years ago. We'd been together 2 years. 6 months training together, being forged into a team. 4 men who worked together like a single unit. The 18 months after that saw us deployed to 6 different worlds where we'd fought our asses off. Mostly ops behind enemy lines, identifying troop locations, calling in airstrikes. We were good. We did a fuck ton of damage to the clickers. Every unit thinks they're the best, but we are the best. We know each other so well. Know the way each man moves, each man thinks. We are 4 men who acts as one. You can't train that. You just can't. You can get close to it. But at the end of the day, it's damn near impossible to find 4 guys who mesh together so well and are all damn good at what they do and can kill and keep on killing and stay alive long enough to cultivate that natural seed into a hard-won instinctive integration and don't have the entanglements of spouses and children. That's a lot of ands. We have them all. That's why they picked us. We were tapped to become part of a grand experiment. Galaxy-wide, the clickers outnumber us by a factor of thousands. They breed faster, and it doesn't take them as long to mature enough to become soldiers. We couldn't keep up at first. In short, we were screwed. Right up until our eggheads learned how to copy people. Don't ask me how it works. There's more rumors than I can count. Most say it started out as some teleportation project. The eggheads developed a way to take a living thing and slice it up one atom at a time and record that pattern of atoms. Big-ass biofabricators rebuild that pattern one atom at a time, only real fast. Once that pattern is stored, I'm told, it can be transmitted. A living thing defined as pure information. That's what we figure. But no one has told us the details. Above our pay grade. All we know for sure is what we experience firsthand. I remember being on that big base on Delta Col, buck naked, shivering a little, standing in a line of 100 other naked soldiers. Kamala, then me, then Shez, then Sam. I remember stepping into that machine, hearing a soft buzzing sound, feeling pain at a level I can't describe. One moment, I was torn apart. The next moment, I stepped out of the machine. There's no pain, no confusion. Only I wasn't on Delta Col anymore. I was aboard the Ahmad Barnes. I'm not the original Marky. Can't be, because the original me was stripped down to countable atoms, but I'm the same guy who stepped into that machine on Delta Col. Sort of the same guy, anyway. The war changed me. It changed all of us. Sarge the most, I think. Marky, Sam says, a little sharper this time. You ain't the first one to go through this, you know. Come on. I take in a deep breath, let it out slow. Sam is right. I had seen all of them die, but the fact that I'm here at all means they had seen me die. That's just the way things work. That's how things are supposed to work. Lead the way, Sammy. I've been through the reunion dozens of times, but I've always been the one in the hut waiting for a dead squad mate to arrive. This is the first time the others are waiting for me. Sam walks in, I follow, and there they are. The other two members of our elite force. Shez looks the same. Shez always looks the same. He strides toward me, grabs me in a killer bear hug that makes my bones pop. God damn, Marky, how are you, brother? Jesus, Big Daddy, take it easy. He laughs, lets me go. Shez is always laughing, at least when he's not killing. Shit, buddy, you look good, he says. You still have both ears. An ear? Sam said I lost an eye. Shez nods. That too. He moves fast. Before I know it, I'm in that bear hug again, my bones popping again. That's enough, Sarge says. He says it quiet-like, but full of steel. Shez lets me go. His smile faded halfway. He looks sheepish. Yeah, he says. Sorry, Sarge. I turned to face the man I'd killed. That old scar above his right eyebrow. A new scar, thin, still pink on his left cheek. Hey, Sarge. He smiles, but not with his eyes. Welcome back, Marky. Let's get you a drink. I'm laughing so hard I have to wipe tears from my eyes. Sarge smiles wide and shakes his head, his version of hysterical laughter. While it's all Sammy can do to stay sitting, his legs barely strong enough to keep his shaking body in his chair. If Shez weren't in the middle of telling a story, the expression on Sammy's face could be mistaken for utter agony. So then, Shez says, pausing to take in a ragged breath. So then Marky says to the rent boy, he stands up, holds both hands down below his crotch to indicate the sheer size of the thing. With a cock like that, don't you think a flashing blue dildo is kind of overkill? Sarge actually laughs out loud. Sammy slides off the chair and falls to the floor, his hands holding his stomach. My stomach is locked up so tight I can't breathe. It was funny when it happened 4 years ago. It gets funnier and more involved every time Shez has told it since. He lifts his hands from his crotch as if still holding the imaginary cock, swirls it around his head like a lasso. "Ride 'em, cowboy!" he screams. I have snot dripping down my upper lip. My breath returns. I can barely see him from the tears in my eyes, but even a biblical flood couldn't hide his grin of self-satisfaction. "Kiss my ass, Shez," I say, forcing the words out. "At least I didn't accidentally get it on with that donkey on Theta Call." And just like that, the memory has me going again, my eyes squeezed shut, my breath locked up at the thought of Sammy and Sarge trying to pull an extremely high Shez away from that poor beast of burden. I laugh and laugh until I realize I'm laughing alone. My laughter fades. I open my eyes, blink away the wetness. Sarge is looking off to the right. Shez has a doubtful expression on his face. Sammy, drunk as drunk gets, just stares at Shez. "Shez," Sammy says, "you fucked a donkey?" Shez rolls his eyes, an expression that says please like I could ever do that. He did do it. I saw him do it. "Must have been a different me," Shez says, trying to deflate the sudden tension in the hut. "At any rate, I hope she was good." "Shez, don't bother denying it," I say. "You got kicked. Have that divot in your forehead, under your skin, that—" I look closer and realize that there is no divot. His forehead is smooth. And then I remember why. The blue dildo event happened before we were copied. The donkey incident after. I experienced the great donkey fucking incident with another Shez, another Sammy, another Sarge. A mistake on my part. If you're a solo transfer, you're kind of not supposed to talk about things that happened after copying. It reminds the others that another version of them is already dead. Everyone falls silent. We keep drinking. Some kind of tequila. Doesn't matter what kind it is, as long as it's the kind that gets us fucked up. Everyone drinks in silence. No one knows what to say. This awkwardness is normal, though. Happens every time. In a few days, we'll all sync up again, be right as rain. But since I already pissed in the punch bowl, I figured 2 social faux pas in a row couldn't make things any worse. There is something I have to know. So, you guys want to tell me how I died? If not talking about post-copying stories is a gray area, asking how you died is absolutely black and white. You just don't do it. That's what the shrinks tell us anyway. Being part of this company is supposed to give us the feeling that we can never die, that we live on even if we have to sacrifice ourselves in battle. We get that reinforcement every time a squad mate dies because he's not really dead. Not when he walks into the hut a few weeks later. Sometimes even a few days later. If your squad mates can't really die, then you can't really die. That's what the shrinks tell us. The shrinks are full of shit. There's only one you. They can make copies of you, perfect, spot-on copies that would fool your own mother. Only there is no fooling at all because it is you. Every scar, every mannerism, every memory. But each copy is mortal. You are mortal. When your number comes up, you're just as dead as if there were no copies at all. I don't know how many of me there are out there. We're not privy to that information. Shez thinks there's only a dozen or so of us. Sarge says it's more like hundreds. The truth is somewhere in between, maybe. It's fucked up, sure, but what we do know is that it's helped humanity gain ground. We've retaken entire planets. Donal 15, however many versions of us there are out there, is a big part of that. In a way, we're immortal. And yet, these 3 men know how I died. I need to know what they know. Come on, crotches, I say. I'm a big boy, I can take it. I look at Shez. Big Daddy? What's the matter? You never saw blood before? He laughs. A forced thing. He looks at me, sadness in his eyes. He shakes his head. "I can, Marky," he says. "Don't ask me again." He looks away, takes another drink. That's the thing with Shez. No means no. I know better than to push. So I look at Sammy. "And you? You see me go down?" Sammy sighs. He pushes himself back into his chair. He nods but doesn't say anything. I walk over to him, slap him on the back. "Come on now. You? Shy? I'd tell you if you asked me." He turns his head, spits on the ground. "I didn't ask, Marky." The air in the hut has grown tense. This was supposed to be a good time, brothers in arms, bonding and shit like that. I'm ruining it, and I know it. But I can't stop. I turn to the only person left. "Sarge, how about it?" He sits silent for a moment. He takes a sip of his piss water beer, holds it in his mouth a long time before he swallows. 6 years ago, Sergeant Kamala was my rock. He would have done anything for me. I'd have done anything for him. After we were copied, though, he bought it the second mission out. His replacement had gone through some shit he wouldn't talk about. We were never able to get it out of him. Sarge 2 took longer to make decisions. When he made those decisions, sometimes they weren't good. Sammy 3 died because Sarge made a bad call. Shez 1 died because Kamala hesitated at the wrong time. It kept getting worse. It was when Sarge 2 froze up during that last attack that I'd had enough. He should have given us the command to retreat, but he didn't, and because of that, Shez died again, and I lost another Sammy. I couldn't take it anymore. That's why I killed him, because he was going to get me killed too. And I don't want to die. But that was my other Sarge. Was this Sarge, my Sarge 3, I guess, the same kind of fuck-up? Had he seen things that made him a shitty leader? Was he going to get me killed? This Sarge takes another sip of beer, swallows, looks at me with cold eyes. "It's not pretty, Marky," he says. I shrug. "I've seen each and every one of you die. Sometimes real fast, most times not. For each and every one of you, at least once I was the guy holding you tight when your life slipped away. You all made me promise to say thanks to your folks, to people you used to know. The versions of you that could still talk anyway. Sometimes you just screamed or cried or shit and pissed yourselves. You're all ghosts to me. I know I'm the same to you. I've seen it all, Sarge, and I have yet to see a pretty death." Sarge blinks slowly. Maybe the booze is hitting home. He nods. "Ain't that the truth?" He sets the beer down. Shez looks away. Sammy just stares at his boots. Sergeant Kamala stands. "Here's how you died, Marky," he says. He reaches to his thigh holster, slowly pulls his combat knife. He holds it up. "You died when I put this through your heart." The hut and everything in it fades away, seems to vanish, to evaporate just like my original body had done 6 years earlier. The world shrinks to him and me. "Fuck you," I say. "Fuck your lying mouth." He points to the thin scar on his cheek. "See this?" The scar almost healed. Another week it wouldn't be visible at all. He taps it. "You tried to kill me. You came at me from behind like a coward. If Sammy hadn't shouted out a warning, you'd have slit my throat." I killed him. He killed me. Another him, another me. Some of the hut reappears, just the part that contains Shez. I look at him, but he only has eyes for his boots. He's rolling his glass between his palms, real slow. So slow the booze inside seems to not move at all. "You'd been acting funny," Sarge says. "The stress was getting to you. You kept looking at me like this war was my fault. Every time one of us died, I heard you mumbling. I should have sent you off." Shez whips his glass against the ground. It shatters. A tequila grenade. No, Sarge, Shez says. He points at me. That wasn't him. It was another Marquis. It was Marquis 4, the one who got all messed up in the head when Sammy 7 died, not this guy. This guy is our Marquis, the real Marquis, the one we came up with. Shez's face is beet red. He wants to believe I'm his old friend, unscarred by years of separate experiences. The same me that he followed into that teleporter, he needs to believe it. Tomorrow we'd be on a mission. Our lives would be in each other's hands. Sarge nods, slowly, patiently. Right, Shez. You're right, not this Marquis. Sarge looks at me, eyes cold. He doesn't believe a word he is saying. Ain't that right, Marquis? You and I have no problems. I force a smile. Sure, Sarge. Whatever happened to the other Marquis, well, that didn't happen to me because it wasn't me. Before my last unit bought it, we were all tight, right as rain, like Shez says. It was just like the old days, before we stepped into that machine. It will be like that now. I want to believe the words, I really do, but Kamala, his face, he is the motherfucker that got my friends killed over and over again. That urge to frag him I thought I'd left behind flares up hot and unstoppable. And that's bullshit. Total and utter bullshit, because this Kamala hasn't done anything to me. At least as far as I know. Why had another version of me tried to murder him? Was it for the same reason I murdered another version of him? No, that was impossible, because I killed my Kamala for shit he did after we were copied. But is there something deep-seated? Something that had yet to show itself before we were copied? If we hadn't been copied at all, would Sarge have become the same fuck-up? Or was there something about me, the original me, that was already broken before we were copied? Nature, nurture, or both, a volatile combo waiting to be mixed together by the stress of war, ignited by the wrong things said or done at the wrong time. Kamala looks over at Sammy. Sammy has his head in his hands. He's rocking back and forth. Corporal, Sarge says. You okay? Sammy looks up suddenly, shamefully. His expression changes instantly, a blast visor of competence and coolness slamming down. Yes, Sarge, he says. I'm fine. I'm not so good with reunions. I'll be good by tomorrow. Sarge nods. Yes, Sammy, you will be. You always are. He sighs, rubs his face. All right, boys, let's get some sack time. Op starts at 0500 tomorrow. Dust off at 0550. And Shez... Sarge points to the broken glass on the ground, gleaming shards wet with booze. Pick that shit up. Shez is already asleep. He's talented like that, can sack out at the drop of a hat. Sammy is lying in his bunk, face to the hut wall, back to all of us. His chest is shaking a little. Maybe he's crying. Like I said, Sammy is emotional. Sarge is sitting on his bunk, staring at me, watching me. I'm sitting on my own bunk and staring right back. This man has done nothing to me, but I still hate him. For his part, does he see me or the man who tried to kill him, who'd left that scar on his left cheek? The op, our first together, our 100th together, is just 5 hours away. Sarge and I keep staring. Neither one of us is going to get any sleep.
Author's note for Reunion. Cloned soldiers are a common sci-fi trope. If the technology is someday invented to make copies of warriors, One has to assume that governments or corporations or whatever organizations manage to do it will choose seasoned veterans, men and women good at the business of soldiering, of killing. If you clone people who are experienced in working together, that's even better. From the point of the copying onward, however, those individuals will continue to grow as people, racking up experiences and changing slightly over time. I thought it would be a cool idea to see what happens to a fire team that has several years of common experiences when they fought closely together, and then a few years when they did not, or they were fighting with other copies. What happens when one who was a part replaces one who wasn't a part for those missing years? For the characters in Reunion, the moral of the story is, I guess you had to be there. You have been listening to Fire is Orange, a short story compilation by #1 New York Times bestselling novelist Scott Sigler. Narrated by Scott Sigler, Ray Porter, and A. Kovacs. Produced by A. Kovacs. Engineered by Steve Rickyberg. Copyright 2019, Empty Set Entertainment. All rights reserved. For more information about the author, visit scottsigler.com. Theme music by the band Amps and Volts.